right, guys. Dom, I don't know if you got a chance to stream, but if you hit up at the top right corner, you can blast this out to your stuff too, my man. But for those of you that might just happen to be peeking in, this is a little impromptu podcast. I'm hosting here with Dom Arias from Premier Lending. Dom, man, has been doing some really cool stuff over here. Super proud of what he's accomplished. And we thought we'd do a little bit of a walk back because if I remember right, Dom, you started summer last year, summer 2024?
Yeah, just about, I think, June or July of last year. So about a year from now.
Yeah. And as Nebraska's self-titled, self-proclaimed Nebraska's tallest loan officer, which you could be right, hailing at what, 6'7"?
6'7" without shoes, probably like 6'8", maybe a little over 6'8" with shoes on. So I think I got it. I did my own research, so I think I'm up there.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, if anybody's tuning in and you want to rival that, hey, I'd love to hear it. We'd love to meet somebody who's taller than Dom. But, the reason I wanted to bring you on today is, we've just been talking a lot lately, and I've seen your growth and I've seen the things that you're doing and the relationships that you're bridging and building, and have just been really impressed. But I know a lot of people who are just getting started in this industry, or maybe even have been going for as long as you have been, or even longer. There's some struggles for folks, and getting out there in what some would say is a difficult market. Rates are higher, inventory isn't moving like it once did, and building relationships. I think it's a hot topic, and I think it's something that a lot of people could learn from. So, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm excited to talk about this. I think there's a lot of thought you can put into this topic. So, yeah, I'm excited to get into this.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. So, if we take that time machine back, and this is a question, I love to ask, to when you were first getting started, you were excited. And I remember your journey because you're just out of school, right? Just graduated college. You're just getting married, right? You just got your lawn officer's license, or you actually didn't even have it yet, right?
No, yeah, it was crazy. So for those of you guys that are tuning in, a little bit about me. So in May of last year, I was graduating college. I knew I wanted to be a loan officer, and I took my test, failed it the first time, and was taking it again. But in the meantime, between graduating, about 3 weeks after graduation, I was getting married. So there was that short time period where I was taking, like the course, trying to learn everything. I had the test scheduled for like 2 days after I got back from my honeymoon in Aruba. So I literally remember, like, we got married, we flew out to Aruba the next day, and I'm in Aruba, like at our Airbnb that we're staying at, like at night, and I'm like taking the course, like taking tests and stuff on my honeymoon. And it was, but it was all worth it because he passed the second time. So
boom.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. So you passed the test, and I guess you have the honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you guys conceive a child.
Yeah.
You just had a baby girl, right? Which is super exciting.
Yeah.
But now you get back stateside, and you got to figure this industry out and how you're going to provide for your new family and that new baby girl and your new beautiful wife, right? And what does that look like, man?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Well, one, it's crazy because I was 20. Was I 21? Yeah, I was 21. Or I did probably just 22, or just about to turn 22. And I was, going into an all commission role, had no idea what I was doing, right? Totally brand new. And honestly, I just got blessed with the coaching that, came from you, Devin, and the people around me right out of the gate. And I think that really helped me, kind of hit the ground running and give me a good base. And, a lot of it just comes down to just like getting your name out there, whether that's, through social media, just building relationships, getting your face seen by other people. I think, honestly, exposure, and a lot of people say this, like, exposure is the new, like, what's the word? Like the new, like, source of money. Like, if you're not getting seen, you're not making money. So it's like, that's what I knew I had.
Right? Visibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to
So
be
I knew
visible.
I had to get seen. That really was the number one priority, especially because the company I was working for, they weren't local to Nebraska, like they didn't have a local presence here. So it literally was I'm Dom coming in with no experience, right?
I'm
20 to
bringing this
22
new
years old,
business you've never heard
coming
of.
in as learning a new business, but also bringing a new business to a local Midwestern town where everyone hates outsiders, right? So it was
New York
a
City.
time, yeah. So it was crazy, but yeah, I was just spending a lot of time on the phone, calling, agents, calling my friends, just talking to really a ton of people and meeting up with them like over Zoom or on a phone call or something like that, or in person
Yeah.
sometimes. And I think looking back on it now, one thing I would change based on what I'm doing now from what I've seen after reading the market for about a year, is I probably would go back, and if I had to start all over again, probably would try to get more in persons like quicker.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
think because I think in my market here today, like I've noticed it's just the Midwestern vibe. Like everyone loves, meeting face to face, belly to
Yeah.
belly, you know, like I don't know, there's something about that camaraderie that I think, you can't beat. And I love it too, personally, just my personality. But I think if I had to go back, that's what probably I would do. Because I think even though, yes, you can do less in-person meetings a day or a week,
Right.
it's just going deeper, right?
Building a real relationship.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Well, how do
It's
you
not,
do that, right? So, you've been doing this for a while and you've made some mistakes and you've had some big wins, right? So, like, what is getting personal and going local, and how do you accomplish that and do it in a way that's impactful?
yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I love heart to hearts with people. I love going deep, just personally, like outside of business, And so I find it a lot easier for me to do that. Just sit down with someone and that I've never met and kind of draw common strings and stuff and kind of put it all together. So I really enjoy that. And my wife always makes fun of me whenever like we're at a wedding or a party. She's always in the middle of the dance floor yelling, and I'm always off in the back corner having a heart to heart with someone I've never met before. So like, and we talk for hours. So like, that's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
So, what it looks like here on a business level is kind of just like I'll call someone, and at first it used to be pretty scripted, and I think they kind of picked up on that. So I think now I just
Mm,
kind of try to be as genuine as I can, and just like, hey, look, this is how I found you. My name's Dom. Like, I'm in the real estate industry. Like, maybe you're a realtor or you're a financial advisor or whatever you are. I'd love to meet you just to make a connection. Like
yeah.
LinkedIn's all about connecting, and I just keep it short, simple, not scripted at all, just super genuine. And if they say no, it's like, all right, it's all good. You have rebuttals to that, sure, but um, most of the time, if you just come at it from a genuine angle, like they're like, yeah, I'll be open. Maybe not this week, but in a couple of weeks, it's to follow up or something. But most of the
Yeah.
time, yeah, they're super open to it. Yeah.
Well, and let's be specific too, because I don't think I brought this up because I know where you're at, but right in the heartland. So he's Lincoln, Nebraska. I know we said Nebraska's tallest loan officer, but Lincoln, Nebraska, to be specific, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going out there and you're making these relationship connections. And then, like, how are you transitioning that into building trust and getting to the point where they're actually, saying, hey, look, I feel confident in you, Dom, and your ability to serve families. And, I feel like you could be an extension arm of what my business is, right? Because that's a personal thing in this industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you got to show them multiple facets, I think. Like, you got to show them one, that you're a real person, right? That you're someone that they can rely on a personal level, just like that you're moral, that you're ethical, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right? And that you just have genuine care for the people that you work with, and that you talk to, right? Like, I'm not approaching this conversation like they're just a business partner to me, right? Like, I'm approaching them because I actually want to make friends and like find people that I align with. Because who knows, like maybe in a different stage of my life, like maybe I want to do something else, and like I want to reach out to some people and have those connections, right?
Yeah.
um so there's that aspect of just showing them you're a good person, and you just get along, but also you have to kind of know your business, right? So that's where I have to be diligent about reading the appropriate things about the local market, right? Understanding what I need to do as a loan officer, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I can then treat their clients that they refer over to me well, right? And then I have to know also like a little bit about the local market, what's offered, what's not, and how, I can make a difference, and not necessarily replace other lenders, but complement, right?
Yeah.
Complement other lenders, right?
Yeah.
So
So we're going backwards and we realize we got to get deeper. And so more face to face is more getting in front of folks and actually having meaningful conversations. But what's the other thing that you feel like, man, I've kind of stumbled here and I feel like I've found the better way? right? What would that look like?
Could you clarify like more about the question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what you
Yeah,
stumbled on, Dom. You know what I mean? At the end of the
yeah.
day, this is going to be something that you personally, you go, man, had I not done it this way, man, if I had it to do it again, I would have done this.
Yeah, good question. I mean, so yeah, definitely in person, right? Getting the face to face is obviously big. Um, Building your brand online as well, because
Mm,
when people look you up, maybe you call them and they think you're a scammer and they look you up, right? You want to have a legit online profile, whether that's through social media, blogs, vlogs, really anything, right? Um, so having that presence there is always good as well. And you can do just Lincoln is a big small town. It's about 300,000, but it's a school town and everyone knows everyone. So
yeah.
I've really noticed that in the last year, networking with different people, like I feel like I know more people than my family does now, like my whole family. So it's crazy. But I just think, getting out face to face, yes, with your business partners, but just with the people in the city, whether that's
Yeah.
events, promoting events, promoting other businesses, um, just being a person of the city, like, and trying to become like almost like a soul, like where you have a lot of people can come to you to see many different things. Like, I think that's important too.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I know that you've done is a whole lot of networking. In fact,
Yeah.
if I remember properly, and I could be off on this, I think you've made somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, 2,000, 3,000 phone calls or more, right? Is,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
about right? Like, what's the number if we had to go back
I
and
think
look at the
it's a
records?
lot. It's like, yeah, it's 5,000 or something. And again, like that's not all to
That's it.
realtors. Like some of it, and a lot of it is to realtors, whether it's
Right.
the repeat, calls or something like that. New realtors, right? Even realtors that maybe are just brand new, like me, getting into the industry, right? Because I also
Right.
want to find young, hungry guys that are willing to start a relationship from the ground up, right?
Mm,
Because those are super powerful as well. But also like as I said, financial advisors, CPAs, roofers, plumber, like anyone related to real estate, or just like if I went to a couple networking events here in town. I was part of a networking sphere called Center
yeah.
Sphere. And you meet all kinds of different people there. And actually, it's funny. A tree just fell on my house the other day, and
Real
the
talk. An
yeah, like
actual tree.
a tree just fell on my house, and the people that I called were literally the people that I met at the networking event. Like I felt confident in my contacts because I was
That's
like, I
awesome.
know these people personally, right? I've interacted with them for months. So it's not just like a random number on a call sheet that I'm calling for a service. I know these people and they know who I am, so they can actually come and help me out, and I have trust in them. So I think, yeah, again, Lincoln it's just about getting out there, because if you get out there and you show them that, again, Midwestern town, right? You show them that you're a genuine person,
Yeah.
like that's going to go a long way.
So going back to that same question, would you have called 5,000 people?
I mean, I'm not going to say no, like, like obviously I think I probably, yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Like, still
Yeah.
call as many people as possible, because the name of the game, as I said, is exposure, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
right.
I think I definitely left some people on the table, as far as like maybe I was new, didn't know what I was talking about, right? And kind of exposed myself on the call, or maybe they just didn't like the fact that I followed up with them 12 weeks in a row, right? Like that's also something that I've noticed is, different people have different tastes for phone
Yeah.
calls, and
You
some
heard a little bit
people,
of this.
How about new?
yeah, exactly. So,
Bastard.
5,000 phone calls to maybe a couple thousand different people doesn't mean that I have a couple thousand different people in my Rolodex now. Like it's, but a lot of people know who I am, or
Yeah.
have friends that know who I am, which is obviously important. So,
So it was worth it because you went
100%.
out there and did the hard thing and you put yourself out there and you made a lot of relationships. And at the end of the day, some of them worked out, some of them didn't, but you learned from those experiences. And I would be willing to bet the words call reluctance. Like, does that even happen to you anymore, Dom?
No, not really. No, I think I've dialed so much I dial a lot from my cell phone now, and I think my cell phone comes off as spam now to regular people, because my number's been all over the place. But yeah, no, I definitely had call reluctance in the beginning. No
Yeah.
idea what to say. What do I
Heart
say? What
pounding.
happens if, yeah, what happens if someone gives me an objection? I have no idea how to rebuttal, right? And I
Mm,
think now, just having been torched so many times, like I'm willing to. I've always been willing to say this, but like I am very much like it comes a lot easier just to say, hey, I don't really know, like but let me get back to you on that within an hour or something like that, or just go to other people for advice because that's just human, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, but call reluctance not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, you've gotten rid of that, right? Well, what would you say to somebody who's tuning in that, they got to get out there and get after themselves, right? They're struggling. How do you overcome it? Like, is
Yeah,
there like
I
is there
I
like a
mean,
secret?
there's always like the Nike of like just do it, but then it's like it's hard to say that to someone because they're gonna be like, well, that's helpful, like not really, Um, I don't know. I mean, it just comes down to just do what you want to do. Maybe it's present to a group. Let's say like your goal is like I want to get in front of this group of like 20 people. Well,
Right.
maybe don't do 20 at first. Maybe do five, or three. Pick people that you're comfortable with, right? And do the presentation or something similar to it that you can parallel it with, and just get feedback. And these are people like your friends that you can mess around with, that they're not going to make fun of you really, so they're going to give you honest feedback and they're being genuine. Just do stuff like that, scale it slowly, I would say, whether that's phone calls, in-person presentations, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But really I think it's one of those things where you just kind of have to like bite the bullet and do it once and like kind of see how it goes, and if it goes terrible you got to reevaluate obviously, but most of the time I'd be willing to bet you or whoever's listening, like it's not going to be that bad, and you're actually going to like come out of it and be like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad, and like people
Yeah.
think about me less than I think they do.
Well, so let me ask you this, man. So how do you go from I don't know you, we've never met, and I'm building a relationship to give me some business, and I want all your clients because I need to make some of that hard-earned cash, right? Like where do you do that? How do you do that without it feeling like all you care about, right, is
Yeah,
give me
yeah.
your business?
I mean, it definitely just depends. I think that on the meeting, on the person that I'm talking to, kind of like, when I first meet them, I'm gonna be really just normal, like I'm meeting a person off the street, right? Like obviously they know a little bit about me and I know a little bit about them. And they know why we're meeting, right? Like whether it's a real estate, loan officer to realtor meeting or something. Um, but usually just, we'll start off with small talk, kind of get the juices flowing. And then we start talking about maybe they bring up a hobby of theirs or what they're doing this weekend or something. And we talk about that. That kind of might spin off into something else. Um, but yeah, usually you kind of just get to know each other a little bit, just
Yeah.
laugh a little bit. And then somewhere in the middle or towards the end, it'll trickle back into real estate. Or if I'm feeling, or if it's like, hey, they only want to talk business, then we'll start talking business, right? Because then the doors are open. So then, I can present to them a little bit about, what I've seen in the market and how I, like where the gaps, how I can fill them and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and usually at that point in time, I mean, especially if it's someone that I've called maybe 10 times in a row, they already know that I'm consistent, or maybe I've worked with them and they're like a listing agent or something like that, right? And they know I'm responsive on the phones, that kind of stuff.
Mm,
There's always kind of that trust already built up a little bit as far as like, hey, he's got the communication, he's got the consistency, he seems like he's got a good head on the shoulders, right? That kind of stuff. Um, and so I kind of just, some people were like, hey, I put you on my list as like my third option because you called me so many times, and I hadn't even met you, but I was like, all right, fine, I'll put you on my list. Like, go somewhere else.
just rip out my
Um,
heart and show it to me,
but
right?
then, at that point, it's like, I'll make a
You made
joke
the
and I'll be like,
list,
hey,
man. You made
I'm
the
joking.
list.
I'm like, I'm not really joking, but I kind of say it in a joking way. I'm like, hey, I want to be like, I don't want to be your number three. I want to be your number one.
Ooh,
And,
dude, I love that.
and obviously I'm not going to expect them to be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, here you go. Like, no, like you got to earn it. So that's where like follow-up comes in,
Yeah.
follow up or just a check-in, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Some people don't like it once a week. It just kind of comes with time. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes like you can
Yeah.
ask them for a lead or a referral right off the bat. They're not going to say no. I mean, some of them might be like, oh, I got my preferred lenders or I have these paid relationships, whatever.
Right.
Um, but then, I, that point, it's like, I'll make a joke and I'll be like, hey, I'm not really joking. But most of the time, there's workarounds to that. That's where you can kind of come in with different loan programs or a podcast or something, right? And help, kind of
Yeah. Well, how
compliment
do,
their business.
or just
Yeah.
to ask, right? Like, hey, what do I got to do, right, to earn that respect,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
what does it take to get to the number one seat on that bench, right?
Right,
And,
right.
and how can I aspire, even if it's not with you, with somebody else, right? I want to know what I should be doing to serve you and serve you well, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think it just, there's many different answers you'll get to that question, right? And some of them are just flat out no. Like
Yeah,
I've been in the business for 20 years and my sister is my loan officer or my wife's my loan officer. And I'm like,
right.
all right, well, hey, and then maybe I'll call her and be like, hey, I was just talking to your husband, I'd love to meet up with you. And then what I do is I'll meet up with that loan officer and I'll talk to them and see what they do. And then I can call the realtor back and be like, hey, I just spoke with your bestie.
Yeah,
Like they were great, but also here's some things I noticed that they can't do, and like it kind
that's
of
so smart,
there's
man.
just yeah, there's
You're
different
calling
ways.
the competition, and you're asking them questions. I absolutely love that, Dom. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to get you over here, because I know there's always people out there just looking at like, what do I do? Right. Another thing, and I think this is smart because you alluded to it, is a lot of the times, we think, man, we should treat people the way that we want to be treated. And you're not wrong, right? We should. But I think there's more to it than that. We need to treat people the way they want to be treated, right?
Hmm.
That's what's so important, because if you find out what makes somebody tick and you find out what they love and what they need and what they're interested in and what really means something to them, then you treat them that way. And that's how you build long-term meaningful relationships, because you actually took the time to care about what they really wanted, right?
Right. Yeah, 100%. And it's just about, yeah, being genuine, being creative, and being patient too, like it's probably different in Florida or in California, right? Where
Mm,
maybe the business mindsets there are different, or the people, like I'm from California, so I know the people there are a lot more laid back. Just like I don't really care who I work with as long as they do a good job and get the job done. Here
yeah.
it's more like, well, I care about who I work with because they've been here for generations and
Mm.
there's this local tribe, and so
Yeah,
that's
I do
hard to
know.
break
I do know.
into.
I'm a Kansas kid. Remember, man, I come from that. And you did business with the local real estate agent or the local insurance agent because your family did business with them and their family did with business with them.
Yeah,
And that name was part of the bloodline by that point in time. Like I get that, man. I really do. And I think that's sometimes where it's tough, because you don't want to come in and kick down doors and blow out relationships. But at the same time, if you're going to provide great service and opportunities that other people just don't have access to, because of some of the unique things that you have the capabilities of doing, right? You know, how do you get that across without, frustrating somebody and making them feel like, I always tell people this, right? You never want to talk negative about the other person is working with,
yeah,
because they may love that person, right? And you may as well have walked in. If you say, hey, your loan officer can't do this because I'm the best, right? You may as well have walked in and kissed their spouse across the lips at that point in time, because they love
right.
working with that individual,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And you can't blame them, right? Because there's a lot of loan officers here in town that are great people and great originators, right? And so it's
absolutely.
like that's why I love meeting other people in my same industry because one,
Yeah.
I can learn a thing or two from them, right? But also like I can get to meet them. So that way I'm like, hey, if you guys ever have someone that I can help that you need, and you want someone that you know and trust to like take care of them, send them to me, right? And that's going to go around, eventually,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it's just building a community. Honestly, it's what it
Love
is.
it, man.
So
Love it. Well, the one thing I would like to do for you, I wish I could just wash that window so I could see you clear, man. We got to get you a better camera, brother.
yeah, it's my laptop camera.
I know it doesn't matter, man, but I'm looking at you and I'm like, dude, you got to look, you look so much clearer than this, right? So, but, well, Dom, let's get some closing words, man. Any words of inspiration to somebody out there that needs to hear it right now?
I mean, just be patient, keep doing what you're doing. I think consistency is obviously the name of the game. And it just kind of comes down to know what you want to do and, don't let necessarily anyone else like divert you from your goals, right? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you can pivot in how you get to those goals, but like you have your goals and just keep your head down and keep doing what you're doing to get there.
Amen. Well, speaking of pivoting and getting to our goals, I've got a meeting I got to get to. So, guys and gals, thank you for tuning in. Dom Arias, folks. Thank you, Dom, for joining us today. And man, if anybody wants to meet Dom, I should have put your handle across the screen. Let me see if I've still got it here. I may have put it on here. No, I owe it to you. So just come check us out here at los.live. www.los.live. That'll get you to Dom. That'll get you to me. That'll get you all of his contact information. You should be able to find the rest from there. So, guys and gals, children of all ages, thank you for tuning in today. We will see you on the next one. And man, just God bless everybody out there. Have a great rest of the day, great rest of the week, and we will see you on the next one. Take care,
guys.